Okay, today I'm going to show you how to rebuild or modify, as I am, your 57 to 60 Ford, at least F100. That's my truck is. I believe it's the same up to 250s, some 350s. Depends on how big the truck is. I don't think your cab overs are going to be the same. But anyways, let's go over. I'll give you. Everybody loves I will give you parts list the best I can. I'll show you the boxes, show you the products I got. I will start with what was wrong with this one first. So let's move it out of the way and grab this piece here. They call it the worm gear. Find out where the camera is. You can see that a bunch of teeth were broke off it, and it's pretty cruddy. Second thing that was wrong with it, and here's the part number for it. The inner race, I doubt you'll be able to see it, was pretty rusted up and notchy, so there's the part number for that. Worm gear bearing race, and the worm gear part I bought is right there. The whole rebuild kit can be bought from this guy. See if it'll focus. Dennis Carpenter. The whole kit was like $350. I think I got $350. So I pieced this together myself off of eBay, and some of them I got from work to do it myself for about $150, even with some of the modifications that I'll get into here shortly. First of all, let's go all over all the pieces for your standard rebuild. As you can tell, my chewed up bushings. Found a factory NOS part on eBay for those. I've already showed you the race. This is just a standard precision. Get at your big name auto parts store for the seal that goes on this shaft right there. Put that back in place. Here's my old rotten bearing, and here's the new old stock part number. Hopefully you can read that. I'll try to remember to put all this into the description below. Now, oh yeah, big one here. Here's the gasket set shim kit. The shims are the gaskets. It comes with all the gaskets and shims. Here's the ones I didn't use. I've already, ooh, that's a really thin one. I've already shimmed mine up, figured it out. Get it into focus here. There you go. Whatever. There's only one for the top plate because it has its own adjuster. And on these, I've seen people trim. I did trim mine. I didn't bring the file. Basically, I just spread them out and ran them on a file till they pushed in nice and tight. Not too loose, not too where you were damaging and putting them in. And I've seen people just cut them. It's like you'll see a huge gap when they're showing it. You see where that seam is? I can't. That's how good it is. There's no seam. I'm just kidding. I'm just not going to waste time looking for a seam to show you that it's tight. But doing it my way, you will need. I already broke it. I used a it's just a brake hone to get it to where it was nice and tight, like where you almost have to press this thing. And I did just because it's easier than, you don't want to hammer on this, so I just used to press to slowly and gently slide it in there. After, of course, getting the rust off here, deburring anything on these so it wouldn't tear up the brand new bushings that just stuck in the thing. So that's basically what you need to do a stock rebuild. As you see, the shaft is missing from this piece, but it's right here. It would have been about super long. I don't know the pieces over there, but I'm not doing a stock column. And it's gonna be hard to see. There's a, looks like a place for a, what do they call that? Woodruff key, but it's not in here. It has, there it is. It has a spot for it to go, but it also is kind of hex shaped because this tube is hollow. So basically, It's like the old days when you called swedging something in a way. Basically, you just press it in there. Maybe we'll see it on here if I get the teeth up there. That it's kind of, as long as the light will come in, it's kind of got these marks where it's been crushed in a little bit as it's forced in. So I can imagine that'd be a lot of fun doing this with a real long shaft. You notice mine's cut off for a very good reason, because I went with the Borkson shaft. So you can see there the little woohoo I made, which I had to do that. I don't have a mill or anything, so I did that by hand with a die grinder really gently, and then my 12-ton shop press over there just kept going until it's nice. You can kind of see the swedged areas there that kind of bite into it. So lots of WD-40, cutting oil, whatever you got as you do this, so you don't break anything. Because I was so worried that this was like the most expensive part. It's $115 just for this, and then the other stuff wasn't much. So yeah, I was real worried about that breaking. The reason I did this is so I can use a crushable column, so the steering shaft isn't killing me, and I could use one of these. I'm gonna get into the aftermarket parts now, and I've taken this, and as you can see, made it to where it won't damage that. This is a 3/4 inch shaft with 36 splined in. The Borkson shaft has this down lower. The other ones are up here. Would also work, but I wanted to make sure I had lots of teeth and grip on this piece here. It actually goes in. Haha, it's good, like I'm not going to show you. There it goes. It actually goes in to where a little bit is sticking out. Yeah, it does hit a little bit. If you wanted to get technical, you could mark that, take it out, gently grind it, file it to where this had as much movement as it had, which isn't much more. There it's hitting nothing, and there it's hitting the shaft. It's like a 1/16 of an inch travel I'm losing. It's going to be fine. You just want to make sure it's every time you're turning, that's hammering that to where you can't get this apart. So that's basically my modification. There's a second part of this. Let me put some stuff together so I don't lose it off the table. So the second part of this, which came with all the seals and that, this is your, so talking about losing stuff, this is your stock. This is the seal that seals the stock shaft, because you got it bolts on. Oh, where's that piece? Whatever, I'll show that in a second. I can show you here. This here has been cut off. It stuck out about another 1.5 inches, and then the seal would go in there, then the column would clamp over that with the shifter pieces and that, since my truck was a 3-speed on the column. So this goes in there, and it keeps anything oil from making its way up the shaft. I went a bit further, and I'll give you this part number for this little tiny double lip seal that will fit in there, and will also, hiding back there, will also go on there. And this I got off eBay too, and I'll give you this weird part in case you're making this modification. And that's it right there. TC 1926X7. There's 2 X's in there, whatever. TC 19X26X7. Okay. So that's it. Now also, here's my shim pack already done. I went with, mine needed 2 blue and 2 of the black or gray. And this is for your, this shaft normally goes up. This is where your horn wire would go up. The old days they didn't run the, like the GM has that thing that rotates and has contacts. They just ran tube all the way up a hole. And yeah, that would kill you. I technically, shaft's hollow, so I mean, if you were doing this and modifying maybe a say like a 68 and later power steering column to fit your 57 to 60, and you're modifying it to look right and put your own collapsible shaft. I don't know where you might, probably could find a hollow collapsible shaft somewhere. I think some of the GMs have it. Anyways, you could still run your wire all the way up through your steering column and up to your stock steering wheel if you wanted to. But anywho, and the way I shimmed this after pressing that bearing race in there, that's the word. Then what I actually did it without the shaft. I didn't have the shaft ready. So, well, you're getting a bearing on there. They're the same, I just weird about which one I stick in there. So then I just pop that sucker in there. And then we have this piece, which I'm not going to really stick it together, because I'll do it when I'm, finished. Maybe it is time to stick this together. Not a bad idea. So anyways, so yeah, I did this, and I just started with no shims, and then kind of guesstimated, measured it, and I keep going up in shims and back and took one out. Got it to where it's just a tiny bit, like when you're doing wheel bearings and you have that tiny bit of preload on the bearings. Since they are tapered, you need a tiny bit of preload so they don't back out and wobble. So anywho, I did that. You always forget something, don't you? You see bearing grease on this table? I think you need to stick a little bit of bearing grease on there instead of letting this dry. And then that wouldn't fall out too, probably. I'll go out a camera over there. Like my drink too is. Okay. Let's start assembling this monstrosity. I should put gloves on. Oh well. I'm gonna get crazy with this. Just don't want it to be dry till the actual gearbox oil goes in there. Okay, that stinker's in there. How about a rag? They're just right off camera. Okay. By the way, this has to go in first before that. I made that mistake already once. But I was just test fitting too, so well, we got that in there. We'll go with this guy. I'm going to do the seals last because I want to glue those things in. And that. Okay. That's seated in there good. Stay. Grab our next bearing with a gob of grease. It's the new one. That one is in pretty good shape. Don't know how, since everything else seemed to be rusted. Unless somebody did a partial rebuild on it. Okay, that'll keep that in there. And then you got this sucker. This is kind of the adjustment. It slides in. It's a little tight, should be. You want this thing wobbling around. And then that plate pushes on that I showed you with the shims. And we'll make up your bearing. That word again. Oh, preload. That's it. There you go. Sucker's in there. And I'm out of breath. Whew. Okay, like I said, already built up my shin pack. Had a pretty good idea of what it would be. I think I'll put a little silicone on that though. So, I like this hardening cheap stuff. It seals pretty good. It's really good on cast iron that's not exactly flat too, like old rear ends. Some crusties. I threw some, as you can see, some etching primer on here. Couldn't get my favorite rusty metal primer. I don't think discontinued that or what. Anyways, let's get that first gasket on there. Nice and straight. I'll stick some silicone on this side. A lot thinner since it seems to be a machined surface. Don't worry, except for plastic, this gearbox would chew up a rock if it got inside of it. Wouldn't necessarily still be good for it, but it could chew up a rock. So, that's why I tell you, don't run over plastic bags, because it's the one thing a rear end and that can't take. Let's get some screws started so these gaskets stay in place. Just a couple will do. Let's slide that sucker in there. Come on. I'm gonna just do this. I'll put the Loctite on in a moment. I'm gonna double check my work with the shims. And I'll see what. That was a little tight for some reason. I just wish I had the ability to fast forward to this. I'm not gonna say perfect. Just the right amount. No slop. It's got a little bit of drag on it. Like I said, preload, bearing preload. Now we'll pop 2 bolts out and Loctite them at a time. Judging these are about 5/16 thread bolt. You're not going to go higher on the torque. I'm not going to go that high. About 20, 25 pounds. I'd probably go about 17 if you were to torque this. The average man, in my opinion, ratchet this big can go about to 20 pounds. So, or at least I've tested that theory on myself, and it seems to be true. So, scientific. Shook up while I'm getting these last 2 links in. Break them down. 2. Oh, I'm going over. Sorry about that. That's 17. This last one's out. Make a bunch of noise. No reason. Probably should be talking louder. Hopefully this comes out. Okay. I'm glad about the silicone over because I remember about that seal. And the other seal that I kind of wanted to soak in gear oil before I put it in there, but it'll get soaked up at the once the gear oil hits it anyway, so just an added protection. So what going all this nice primed apart. Okay. Still good. Now look at this screwdriver. Hopefully that screwdriver works. We'll stick to stocks. There's quite a distance in there. Okay, let's see. Reach up the inside of the seal. It's not needed, but I thought it'd be some extra lubrication. The oil got all the way up there. Dirty rag's getting dirty. Slide that sucker on. I want to get partially started. And then I guess I'll use a screwdriver or something here. Yeah, let's just do it the dirty way. We're making a mess anyways. Get some silicone, extra silicone on the outside of that seal. I wish I had a socket or something better to push that seal in. I'm going to do it the way people are always telling you not to do. Oh, that'll go. That might work. Nope. It's in the pushing out. I was just working the way around slowly. It started. Let me put it on the grill. It's the first time I've had that. Silicone. There you go. That's, I guess, you know, just all you need is a 3/4 inch wrench to push that sucker in, which makes sense. Ooh, spinny. Okay, let's throw some grease on that worm gear while you can see it. Spin. Spin. There you go. Alright, turn the sucker around. Get some grease in these bushings. Yep. We'll put that seal in last. That way the shaft gives it something to guide itself in. Okay. Now, the part I'll start showing you to do, and then I'm probably just going to stop and magic just this will be installed. But what I notice is, one of the things you got to notice here, and I'll show you, is there's a cutout right here for this. I didn't have to replace this. You can get this new. You can replace the bearings and everything. It's in good shape, so now you're just, I went in a little easier than I thought it would. I'll drive it as far as I can down here with a nice soft dead blow. There you go. And I'll just so I can do two things at once. Turn this, and now I'm going to press and gently just push it in. Like I said, the reason I make it, you want it so tight, and people are going to argue maybe online here. I don't care what you have to say. But you got to remember the force that's going to be applied to this. The wheel's trying to fight it. So I mean, what feels like zero slop with your bare hand can up be in anywhere from a 1/16 to a 1/4 inch of ply when it gets to the wheel, or ply. I guess you could say that, you know, whatever, it's loose. wheel play. That's it, not ply, plaw, whatever. So anyways, let me pause this. I'll be right back. It's gonna be too long already. And I'm back after I just pressed it in because it's that way I can make sure this is not binding. I only have two hands, so I can turn this while the other hand's pushing it down. And the other thing I did, since I could take as much time between breaks, was I glued the gasket down, because the next part is going to be fun. So you see there's a slot in here, and it opens up the bottom, so you can get this little, of course, it's rectangle and not square, so it has to only go in one way. Let's see, let's turn this sucker all the way in to give ourselves some extra room. And probably a good idea to put some silicone on this side while we can. Because I went and drilled these holes out a little bit better too, because it seems like these two pieces, maybe they don't go to the same gearbox, maybe the same thing gearbox for, because whoever drilled these holes and whoever drilled and tapped those holes seem like they're two different people. So it's really hard to get these bolts in and out. They were rubbing on the thing, so I just took it, drilled out the holes a tiny bit more, nothing crazy. Let's see if that helped. So, oh, look at that. Ooh, it turns. Yay. Okay. There it goes, nothing. Oh, okay, it's kind of got a point, and it goes this way because it's offset to be in the center line of that. So, I think I can get in one shot. No, because I've already done this a few times off camera. And learn that you put your finger back here if you can to guide it. But then since it just moves down like that, it is a lot of fun. You know, I could turn out, you need to turn it out to the very edge. I guess you could try and turn it in as you're doing it, but that seems like even harder. Maybe I'll try. Get down there. And whoa! Got it in there. Okay. Now, don't fall. It'll slide out. Get it lined up where it's supposed to be. Take this and start screwing it down until the two meet. At least I can get the bolts in. And that feels like that's going to be it. A little too far. Give me some slack. There we go. One bolt seemed to go in fine. Two bolt went in fine. 3 bolts. Yay! You can tell I want to be crooked. We'll see in a moment. You know, feels good. One thing I didn't go over is that they call it the sector shaft. When your yours is wobble side to side, you'd have to take it apart and shim it, or buy a new one. Well, it's not new; it's reman. That same guy, David Carpenter, has everything. If you got the money, well, he'll probably sell you a whole box if you got the money. When you could find these boxes that were converted like this, they were like $800 to $1,000, but I haven't seen one in a while available, so I made my own. Plus, $1,000 buys a lot of car parts, so $150 saves a lot of money. Okay, all that went in fine as a dog's toupee. You sir? Tighter. sure it still turns good. Quick story. So I did this wrong, like trying to get the slop out of my stock car. I cranked that. Oh, just crank it all the way in, right? So get it out on the track. It was doing fine. Soon as the light goes green, like something seems weird. Come around, forward turn. It's getting really bad. First turn, no steering, straight. And it was a high banked oval. And young guy with a foot floored, Dukes of Hazzarded out of the track. Every ambulance and tow truck went after me because they thought this guy's got to be dead, but nope, I did fine. And then looked like an idiot is all, and I'm just sitting there going, I can't steer it. Yeah, great story. Oh, that feels so nice. Okay, that's pretty much it, except for let's throw some Loctite on those. But anyways, there you go. Do it yourself. I got that adjusted. You just, when you put this nut down, make sure that doesn't turn and jam her down. And there you go. Convert your own gearbox to this. Rebuild your own gearbox. This is very similar to like the 53 and earlier trucks. It's just the box is different. Actually, this part is the same. There are people that tell you it isn't, but that guy had like, well, make sure it fits your car, because his part number on it said it was for like a 55. It works, you know. It was exactly the same. It was 86 bucks plus shipping, but then it got 215 bucks with all the eBay fees. So anyways, there you go. All that's left is to take the plug out of this thing and fill her up some gear oil. Hope you liked it. See ya.